I'm going to waste my time sulking and being depressed about that while he's already moved on and engaged.
A lot of people do.
A lot of women do, Amanda.
I still got this to do. I still got to get married now. I still got to have the babies.
It's harder.
Exactly. It's going to be harder for me because he done moved on already and he's already in the position that he needed to be in. It's time for me. I can't. Why am I going to sit here and waste my time being depressed about it?
I don't think it's about sitting here and wasting time. I think it's about figuring out where you may have not made the right decisions and the best decisions for you. Because you may have been in this 5-year relationship, but you have to like think back and like do an accounting of like where you didn't step up for yourself or where you didn't say, you know what, this should have been a boundary for me. Or, you know, I shouldn't have let this shit go on as long as I did. Mm-hmm. Just the way you holding him accountable and you think he should have been this, that, and the other, and he didn't listen and he didn't do that, you got to hold yourself to the same
But I agree with you.
I don't think...
If you're 21 years old, from 21, that happened and she's 25, okay, she got 5 years.
Even at 30.
Because at 30, your eggs dries up. It starts to dry up.
Well, don't say that.
Dry up.
It starts.
Don't say that.
Start drying up.
Yeah,
not drying off, but
yeah.
it start saying decrease at 30. It starts to say, you know, it's time to get it cooking at 30. So if I'm 30 years old and I've been with this man from 30, it starts
talking about biology.
I think that's
but
a lie.
At 30, let's say she's 30 years old and this happened to her. She's been with him from 30 to 35. Now she's 35. This is the 5 years we talking about. You can't go, tuck it up. No. That is 35. Shit, I'm gonna be 40 in 5 years.
Start thinking
Amanda,
about
hold
yourself.
on. Let me give it a reality right here. I done gave this man my whole fucking 30. I done helped him to get a better job, wrote up his resume, gave him all kind of fucking shit, and now I'm 35. Now I gotta go find a man. The chances of pregnancy is harder. I'm not pregnant yet. I am not pregnant yet. I didn't find a man yet. Now I gotta figure out to find a man. Now we're in a time where men are like, fuck you bitches, and I'm tired of y'all. And, you know, what they call them, passport bro? Now we in that time. And I'm 35 right now with the passport bro bullshit and all the podcast talking shit. Just listen. Just hear me out. You in this bullshit right now.
Columbia.
You watching social media every day, and you hearing black men saying y'all ain't shit, and do you bring 50 to the table and all this shit. Now you going on dates. Now we were in a pandemic, dealing with all this shit. Now we out of the pandemic. I'm trying to go on dates to find a new man, to see if I can find a husband. The clock is ticking. And all these men ain't trying to fuck with me. Let me try to take these braids out, this wig off, and put some braids in and look like, you know, Janet Jackson, try to look more natural because they say they don't want these bitches. Let me try to change it up. This is what's going through a whole bunch of women's heads. So now we're sitting back going, damn, my clock is ticking. It's harder. It's more beautiful women out here. I'm competing with the younger girls and I'm competing with the older women. I'm 35. No babies. No husband.
And what you gonna do with that?
So I ain't gonna go, I'm gonna shake it off and don't give a shit. I'm gonna be sulking. I'm gonna be hurt. I'm gonna be feeling
You go ahead and you go freeze those eggs.
If it's that simple.
It's
Why
kind of
isn't
expensive.
It's expensive as hell, baby girl. Come on, we talking about what are you talking about? What are we talking about?
I don't know.
I don't get this mentality.
I'm a different kind of breed.
Oh, you the modern girl.
I am 25 years old, and if I don't see my life going in the direction that I want, I'm freezing my eggs. That's just me.
The problem with us women,
I cannot keep victimizing myself. I'm not a victim. He's already moved on.
I like that part.
Amanda, I hear you there, and I agree with you there. But I'm gonna say this.
I'm gonna be cute. I'm gonna be sensitive.
I'm gonna say this to you. There's a lot of young women have this mentality that they could rebuild just like that. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not. But the reality is this, that you're competing with so many other beautiful women. No man got to pick you. You might never get picked again. You might never. You could freeze your egg. That shit could be in the freezer forever.
Impossible.
You might never get picked.
No. Let's ask a man. Let's ask a man. Let us know.
Who's not picking this?
What?
Shit.
Because the man is like, I'm just gonna dust myself off and I'm gonna grab me.
Get back at it.
So what I'm saying is, based on what T is, the scenario that T is presenting, you're 35. You have multiple failed long-term relationships. You clearly are fucked up somewhere because you haven't done your assessment and gotten right so that you can get what you want. And you got the passport bro bullshit. You got all the Instagram bullshit. You got the oh, you're gonna be dying along with the cat bullshit. You don't have the 30 G's to freeze your eggs. Like all
you a
like
4 or a 10.
Yeah, like all this. You're not a 7. So I'm just saying, like
at best,
based on what you as a man, how do you assess what her response is?
So to answer your question, I actually agree with Amanda in a sense where when we start thinking about why, okay, let's say the whole scenario we got, the woman's 35, a guy just, she just had a 5-year waste of time of a relationship that went nowhere. This has happened to her before, right? You got the passport bros, you got all your eggs is drying up, your shelf out. Yeah, you got all that noise. What I will say is I agree with something that she said was be sensible, right? And I think that you have to at some point start to say, how am I going to compete, right? You can't compete against every beautiful girl. No, you just can't, right? There's always going to be a prettier girl, and there's always going to be a new, younger, prettier girl than you. And at this rate, she might even be further ahead in her career too at this point, right? So how do you compete? You know what I'm saying? And realistically, just like how most men who get a lot of girls, there's two ways. There's the liars, and then there's the ones who just know women more. You need to know men more. It's all you got to do. Be receptive, analyze, and implement. You do those 3 things, you won't have a 5-year relationship that fails, most likely. Or at least you put yourself in a better winning, odds and position. So then you don't have to compete. Then if you are 35, I mean, technically speaking, you should probably have more of yourself together financially, which is a better starting point for a lot of men now too. We're talking about the new noise, not the old noise. Them older heads be scared with women of money. These younger heads, we require women to have money. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. But that's what I think.
I thought y'all don't care about our career and our money.
That's the old head.
That's the old heads.
Rico cares. He needs you to come with a bag.
Because you gotta think about it. Those old heads, they didn't. You gotta think about it. If you like, I said this over here. My college had like 60% women. So what do you think? I grew up as 18 years old in a college facility where obviously people are trying to go somewhere in their career. With 60% of my college filled with women, you think I'm gonna think my girl is not gonna be working? You out of your mind. Now, if you go back to I don't know what the college stats was in 1990.
It ain't even 90 because millennials are the old heads. Gen X is the old heads.
Mm-hmm. Millennials are still young. No, millennials go from all the way down to 28.
Like the original, like when
you're talking about, it's a 15-year gap. You gotta remember. So 28 to 43. Let's just say, or 29 to 42.
So let's just say the 38 to 43-year-olds.
Yeah, so I would say 38 and up, right? Once that threshold.
35 and up.
All right, let's go 35 and up too. We could do that as well.
Millennials 81 to 96.
We always circle back to checking them dates.
The generations, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing because but what I'm saying is if you were in college in the 90s, which you can't be a millennial.
No.
Or the early 2000s.
Yeah. If you were in the college in the 90s, I don't know what that stat is, but I doubt, I'm willing to bet everything I ever acquired in my life, it does not have 60% of women in there, in college in the 90s. So those old heads are not accustomed to women getting money like that or setting themselves up for money. The way I grew up, first of all, I grew up, unfortunately, with a bunch of single moms around me in my area who are all working and getting money. And then I'm going to college with a bunch of women in my area who are getting money.
I think it been that way in the 90s as well.
What, in college? I'm talking about kids being acquired. Well, an 18-year-old is not really a kid, but we consider it a kid. But 18 to 22-year-olds, you're growing up in a time where everybody is having the ability to work. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm thinking for me, like, if I'm 35 now, if a man is 35 10 years from now, you feel what I'm saying? It's not the same world. It's not the same world. You need to be sensible. So that's my opinion on that. Can you soak up? Yeah.
What about the heartbreak piece of it, right? I think the person is gonna kind of have to have this process. I think it's hard to just get up and shrug yourself off when you're dealing. Like if you've dealt with heartbreak, right, or disappointment and things like that, I think it's a little bit more difficult to be like, Okay, now if you are sitting there ruminating year 1, 2, 3, and fixated on the one that got away, it's problematic. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time for you to be like, okay, you know what? I got to move on. I don't think you just get up and be like, 5 years of my life, all right, it didn't work out, dust myself off and get back up.
That time that you take to yourself to be in your feelings, you can also take that time to, I'm not saying instead of, but also at the same time, like, figure yourself out. Like, what was it? What was it about you in that relationship or the past relationships that got you here? Like,
that's not what she's saying.
Yeah, but there's a part that we're missing too, because the part that we're missing is that she's the storyline is the man and her separated after 5 years, and then he goes on to date somebody. We don't know how long that takes, and then 6 months into dating. After that, they get engaged, and now she has an issue. So what we can say is if he started dating day one after the breakup, that means they've been broken up for 6 months at the very, very least, which I highly doubt that's how that happened, right?
Probably was dealing with shorty from before.
But what I'm saying is, how long, like, the thing is, everybody want to pocket watch other relationships. I don't get it.
What do you mean?
Break that.
Like, you pocket, like, it's like somebody, like, it's like if I'm watching Amanda getting money and I'm trying to count her pockets and see how she making money because she doing the same job as me. Well, she doing something better and something different because she's getting paid more. Same thing with relationships. You dating my ex. Okay, you getting more out of my ex than I got out of her. I'm not about to pocket watch your relationship or love watch your relationship.
It's a different formula.
Yeah, you doing it. You doing whatever this is better than I was doing. So I'm not going to take that personal. Guess what? You figured out the key to the code. You know what I'm saying? I only had door number 1. You got to door number 5. You winning. Salute. But if it keeps on happening, then that means I need to be a better locksmith.
I get that.
I agree. But I also think that we have to look at this in stages. And Marie just brought it up. Like, you know, when you grieve, there's like stages of grief. So it's like you're going to grieve the relationship. You're going to go through whatever stages that is. I don't know. How long does it take? 5 months, 6 months, or whatever?
I don't know. Everybody's different. I don't know.
I mean,
First
for
of all,
a 5-year relationship, I would.
That's one.
No, but I would think that for someone you've been with for 5 years, it's going to take some time. That's what I'm saying. And I know it's going to take some time. But just make sure that's not all you're doing. You're not just sitting around grieving, being depressed. Make sure you're getting some self-care in there. Make sure you're figuring yourself out. That's what I was saying. I know that's not exactly what Marie was saying.
So look, let's check this out, right? So let's ask we're gonna ask this question. So we're gonna ask this question so we can actually build some perspective for the audience and the viewers, for those watching, right? Is there, and if there is, what is? But is there basically a draft period for you to get a ring in a relationship or, you know, in life for, you know, women or men?
Absolutely. I think that, and Alan gave literally the best example, calling it a draft, because I don't think you can go into something and prematurely want a ring because you're going to be disappointed. You know, just like he just said, going in, you're a sophomore. When did LeBron play his senior year in high school?
He played senior. He didn't play any. He didn't play any college. No college. He was the last one to do that.
Exactly. So LeBron, and we know that is LeBron. So in high school, cool. LeBron could have that type of expectation to get drafted out of high school, but everybody else can't. You know, I think that we have to look at delusion. We got to look at reality, because if you were a senior and you were good, but you weren't good enough for the league, you got to go to college and play some college ball and develop your game, because otherwise now you're delusional. You know, and you get into your first year, you think about entering a draft. All the you know, like Mel Kipers and all of them are saying, no, you're not ready yet. Your coach is saying, good, but not good enough. Okay, you like, cool. Second year, same thing. Like, when it's getting between that second and third year, you really got to start figuring out, well, what if I'm not good enough for the league? You may go ahead and see your way through, get your degree, finish your 4th year, maybe a red shirt 5th year or whatever. And now you got one chance.
Go to a combine, become a free agent.
Right. Like you literally just got one more chance, but you've had a lot of time to assess your game. You've had a lot of time to figure it out. You've had a lot of time to look at your prospects. And if ain't shit popped off, now what?
And that is why I would suggest.
Then you go overseas.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You go overseas. Support bros.
Oh my God.
There you go.
That's a good point. But this is what I say, to younger women. And, some women might get upset with me saying this, but you can't play with your young years. I don't care how you want to tell yourself that we got to have our hot girl summer, we got to do what we want to do. It's cute until you see all your other friends around you getting married. You've seen everybody's life is growing into a direction that you're still in the club at 38, 35. You're still in the club and you saying, damn, you done been in everybody baby shower and you done been 12 bridesmaids and no ring is coming.